everyone. I'm Nicole Moss, co-founder of Moss Consulting. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Moss Minute called Park Talk, where we talk to business owners and entrepreneurs in Easton Park and learn about them and their businesses. Today, we have Dhruv Kohli with Good Neighbor Property Management to talk about his business and what it's like living in Easton Park.
Thank you. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending time today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely. I'm with Good Neighbor Property Management. We are an all-inclusive leasing and property management solution. So 100% of people want to own real estate. 0% of people want to deal with the headaches that come with owning real estate. And that's where we come in. So everything from leasing out your property to managing it month on month to helping grow a real estate portfolio. It all happens under one umbrella, allows you to own real estate with complete peace of mind, allows your tenants to have a successful tenancy, and kind of connects the process in a cohesive, easy, and accessible way. Would love to talk. You can visit our website at goodneighborpropertymanagement.com. On a personal note, my wife and I, we've lived in Easton Park for the last few years.
Okay.
And with our little puppy, Scooby. Absolutely love it here. And on the professional side, I'm co-founder of Good Neighbor Property Management. And we have a business in Austin and San Antonio. And we absolutely love what we do and excited to talk more about it today.
Yeah. So property management is a huge deal. Before we started our company, I was in commercial real estate, and there's property management involved. I was more on the broker side, so we made the problems more than you guys fix the problems.
Yeah,
all
fair,
of them.
Fair.
So are you doing residential, commercial?
Residential.
Okay.
Yep, primarily residential.
Okay. And what do you do? What does that mean?
So we're the bridge that connects someone who says, hey, I see this investment property or I own this property. Mm-hmm. We take them from that point to this property is now rented, the property is cash flowing, tenants are great, landlord's happy, and things are on autopilot. So we're that bridge that connects it from acquisition to leasing to finding tenants to showing to onboarding to actually moving into the property and then managing it month on month. Inspections, repairs, all that jazz. So we're that bridge in between.
Nice.
Yeah, and the very high level goal is to make real estate ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. And that's what we do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Real estate's a big play in Austin and in San Antonio.
Yes, it is.
I think I find it fascinating that you're in both markets because they're two very different markets. How do you kind of manage both?
We're lucky we live where we do because it's very, very accessible. Mm-hmm. And there's just been so much in the news as well about how Austin and San Antonio are on this way to this one big metroplex.
Yeah.
And you can see it. There was a stat, 43% of people who move to Austin are more than happy and more than open to living in San Antonio and actually commuting. And so the kind of influx into Austin is not just affecting us locally, but also in San Antonio. And it's kind of this beautiful little merging, melting pot, if you will, of two cities coming together. Yeah, it's really neat.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And they're both, it's two totally different spaces. I think culturally it's very different.
It is.
Do you find that managing houses in both markets, is the clientele different in each city?
Frankly, not anymore.
Okay.
Maybe a couple of years ago, but now not so much. I just feel like, especially after COVID and the real estate boom and all that.
Yeah.
I think there's investors who and homeowners who are in both cities, love both cities, and for them it's more about, hey, we own real estate, and COVID gave us this foundation where we can now take this asset and generate wealth from it.
Yeah.
And so, clientele-wise, mostly the same, honestly.
That's great.
Yeah.
What got you into real estate?
So I got into real estate about 9 years ago.
Okay.
I have a degree in supply chain that I did absolutely nothing with.
Okay.
So got into real estate because it was an opportunity for me to get into an occupation where I could get out what I put in. And for a wide-eyed, hungry young kid, that was awesome. So started bottom of the ladder. I was actually an unpaid assistant for a team of real estate agents and eventually graduated to being an agent. I did that for several years, and I got the opportunity to run a brokerage in Austin, which was awesome. Lots of learning, lots of amazing experiences. And then property management kind of happened organically. Real estate went from occupation to passion when I saw the kind of impact it was having on people.
Got it.
The kind of it's a game-changing asset. It's a
Yeah.
life-changing asset. It really is. And so my wife and I, we started investing in real estate on the side.
Okay.
We started investing about 6 years ago. And as we grew our portfolio, we looked for management companies. And a couple of poor experiences later, we're like, nope, we're going to do this ourselves. And so we started building systems and set up the software and set up we set up a system that we could build and scale and robust enough to where it was fair to the tenants, it was easy for the landlords, and it made this process a little all-inclusive one-stop shop that a landlord can come in and plug it and play into, and that was awesome. And clients around the time, they saw it and they loved it, and they said, "You manage your own stuff. Why can't you manage ours?"
Sure.
And fast forward a couple of years, and we're managing 84 properties
Wow.
across Austin, San Antonio, and yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's very, very fulfilling.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your co-founder
Yeah.
is your other co-founder, your spouse?
No, it's
Okay.
actually it's an agent that I know from back in the day.
Okay.
And he is now also a broker and actually an attorney from a past life.
Awesome.
Which is great.
Yeah, great partnership.
Which is great. But yeah, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing it a couple of years longer than I have.
Okay.
And it started as this, hey, we're both trying to do this. Why do both of us have to do the hard, the uplift? Why can't we combine forces? I believe in faster alone, further together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened.
Oh, I
And
like
so,
that. Faster alone, further together.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and that's exactly what both of us lean into, and so far so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a simple thing, this business ownership game. And it's great to have a partner. Steve and I are partners in our business. It's a little complicated because we're married, so we're together a lot, but we really like each other. But Steve joined the company full time almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
And before that, we've been in business about 6 years. And before that, he would go and work all day and then come home and work. We'd work on Moss Consulting at night. And then but it was like lonely because during the day, I'm like, he's working, I can't really bother him, know. And so now that we have each other here together, it's decisions aren't made alone anymore, and it's just really nice to have a partnership.
It's
and
amazing.
It's great to have a mentor. It's great to have, people that you work with, but to have like a true partner who's like in the risk with you is comforting.
It is. And it becomes comforting when they become this, I like to use the word thought partnership.
Yeah.
That soundboard where it's like, hey, I have all these thoughts in my head and I just want to spit them out.
Yeah.
Break them down, put them back together, and then tell me if I made sense.
Yeah.
Right? That's powerful.
Yeah, it really is. It's really, it's fun.
That's awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We try every day. It's not an easy thing. Partnerships aren't easy. I mean, even when it's not your spouse, having a partner where, and you're working with someone, I think that any two people that have the gumption and the level of being okay with risk that want to work together, to start a business, there's a level of, I don't know if aggression's the right word, but drive and stubbornness to entrepreneurs that, it's just it's a beautiful partnership that when you find someone that you trust and you can have a disagreement with, or you can have these thought-provoking conversations. It's build something, which is your business. And then people send you money every month to do what you do. And every month you're like, oh, this is amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah.
How are you doing this?
I had a mentor once about partnerships. Mentor shared, he said the most successful partnerships are the ones where you are strategically aligned, but tactically misaligned.
Yeah.
So mission-wise, make sure you're on board, you're same, you're clear, you know what your vision is. But day-to-day, different ideas, different approaches.
Yeah.
That's very healthy.
Yeah. Oh, very, very.
healthy.
So talking about teams, you have a team, or is it just the two of you?
No, we do.
Okay.
We have a core team and then a network of vendors. And so core team is myself, my partner Ryan, accounting, operations, maintenance, and then the vendor network is, you think of it and it's there. These are, now that we're fortunate we're doing it at scale, we have a preferred vendor network where prices, service, reliability, communication, speed. It's guaranteed, it's quick, and it's efficient, right? Which is awesome.
That's great.
You know, everything from plumber to flooring to HVAC, it's all there.
All the things. Well, and you're dealing with renters, so you never really probably know what you're walking into after a lease is up or someone moves out randomly. Like,
Yeah, even in the middle of a lease, like it's
Really?
we live in it's Texas. I mean, there's so much going on. You know, pest control and ACs and 2021 freeze. You know that happened, right?
Right.
So it just you never know when which direction the pendulum's swinging in.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know on the commercial real estate side that the property managers, I never envied them, like the things that they would deal with. Because it's kind of like we're in HR, right? So we deal with the people, and every day is a new day. There's always, I tell people I'm still surprised by some of the stuff we come across. I'm sure it's very similar to what you guys are doing. You're dealing in people's homes, like.
Absolutely. It's not glamorous at all.
Okay.
And we have this saying. It's actually in our welcome packet. It says, 100% of people want to own real estate, but 0% of people want to deal with the headaches that come with real estate.
Right.
And that is literally the problem we solve, right? You're outsourcing your headache
Right.
with the benefit of capitalizing on a long-term, life-changing asset. That's the play.
That's amazing. And I think that you're right. I mean, people buy homes and then their life grows and then they go buy another one and they're like, what should I sell this home or rent it out? And how often do you get people who are like, how hard could it be? I'll just manage my home. And then like, how often do you see that?
I speak with, I would say at least 2 to 3 landlords a week who self-managed last year or the year before. And unfortunately, something went south. The thing about property management is you don't realize, there she is.
Sorry,
Hi,
Kate, you got to go in, Bookie.
Hi.
So I would imagine that people who have a home or bought a home as an investment think, how hard could it be? I could manage this. Do you run into that often?
All the time. All the time. I would say 2 to 3 times a week. I'll speak with a landlord who is now inquiring on our website or knocking on our door going, hey, I need help. They were self-managing. They were like, oh yeah, my home's relatively new, or I live relatively close. The thing about property management is it's something you don't realize you need until something happens.
Right.
Until something bad, something wrong or something bad or something unfortunate happens, and then you're like, oh, I needed to do that, right? It's such a nuanced industry and it's such a nuanced process. There are 101 things you have to consider. Something simple like a security deposit.
Sure.
Right? Something simple like that. Most landlords don't know that when they take on a new tenant, they have to store the security deposit in a completely different checking account.
Right.
You're not allowed to store it, and so little things like that. We speak with landlords every week who unfortunately had a poor experience self-managing, and now they're like, hey, the peace of mind is way more worth it than the 11 o'clock at night call about a broken dishwasher.
Right. Or the AC or
worse. I mean,
a toilet.
Last week we had someone in San Antonio. They contacted us. They found us through Google, and they had a rental property in Northeast San Antonio, new build, rented it out. They didn't visit the property in about a year and a half.
Okay.
And tenants just moved out. They ran an inspection, $32,000 worth of repairs.
Oh, no.
And the tenants are gone. And that's one of so many examples of where property management, we're checking in on the house once a quarter.
Right.
We're going, hey, how's it going? We'll take a look. Let's make sure the tenants are safe. Let's make sure the property is safe, right? And so little things like that, it's one of the, if not the most expensive asset anyone owns, right? And so caring for that in the best possible way is, in my opinion, it's well worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's really easy to get in over your head when you think like, how hard could it be? Someone's going to live in the house. And I think it's like anything else. If you own your home, you live in your home, you're going to take care of the home that you've made an investment in and that you've you saved up, like you had a very conscious, very like intentional way of purchasing and living in your home. People who are renting, there's just no way they're going to care as much as you do. And even if it's not that people are bad, I mean, I'm sure that people go in and live, but people like kids and animals and all of these things that could happen.
Absolutely. And I think tenants are awesome, as are landlords. The important thing to note is we have to run real estate ownership in a professional, business-like way.
Right.
Running it that way is what's going to benefit everyone.
Both
right?
sides.
Both sides, exactly.
Right.
And I think a lot of landlords, me included initially, we start to tell ourselves the story, right? We're like, oh, we've lived in it, we've taken such good care of it, it's only 3 years old, we're only moving, 20 minutes down. They'll just Venmo us every month, How hard could it be, right? And like I said, unfortunately, more often than not, that goes south, and the damages are exponentially more than what a year's worth of property management would have been.
Sure.
Right? That $30,000 expense, his property management fees over the course of 2 years would have been less than $3,000.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's got to be a tough pill to swallow too.
It is.
As an owner of like, we're saving all this money, and then you're not.
It is, and this is kind of I love and hate about what I do is I'm a landlord first, a property manager second.
Okay.
And so when I speak to you, when I speak to a client, I love that I get to speak to them as a fellow landlord, right?
Right.
And I've rented, I now own, so I've been through it. And when a landlord like that comes to me, my gut is not even to go, I told you so. It's more like, I really feel for you. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough. And hey, let's get you taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that your list of preferred vendors can probably, if they start working with you, can be really like advantageous for even new clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The average landlord's vacancy time, I mean, it reduces typically 3 to 5-fold when going with property management. Just because what happens typically is when tenants move in and then eventually they move out.
Sure.
The vacancy time between, all right, tenants moved out, let me go in as a self-managing landlord, figure out what's going on. Now I have to find my vendor network to fix the property, get it back together. Now I have to list it, figure out how to do that. Then I have to screen them. It's a lot. For us, we start 60 days before any lease ends.
Right.
So by the time any tenant's moving out, they're set, they're good to go, and the property's great as well. And so vacancy just plummets.
Right. It lists right away.
Exactly.
That's great.
Goes a long way.
In Easton Park, there are so many people who have bought in Bryant Park or Nob Hill, or even like Union Park West, Union Park East, who families have grown, income has grown, whatever it is, but they love this house and they see it as an investment and they're in the position to keep that home and buy a new one.
Right.
How can people in Easton Park find your company to manage the property that they are moving from?
As simple as, of course, I'm happy to leave my number, but more straightforward, goodneighborpm.com.
Okay.
We do free consultations, and also helps that I live in Easton Park. So a consultation is, hey, walk over. Okay, yeah, let's.
Sure.
So we get together. It's a strategic session where, one, we understand the client situation, where you move in, if you're moving within Easton Park, whatever that may be. Two, there's a lot of first-time home buyers who bought here and are now graduating to their second home, right? And so it's their first time being a landlord. And so we walk through, hey, this is what you can expect, right? It's a full consultation where these are the steps, this is what you can expect financially, this is what it looks like. And three, in that consultation, we do a walkthrough of their place. And we kind of recommend, hey, as you rent out this place, doing this touch up or making this improvement or not doing this
Sure.
would be very beneficial for you. And so, yeah, easiest way to get a hold of us is our website, goodneighborpm.com. We have a consultation link on there. Sign up, and we'd love to chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. No, that's right. Do you have clients in Easton Park?
Yeah, we manage 16 homes
Really?
in Easton Park. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's actually been really, just on a personal note, very, very rewarding to see. It started with 2 homes, early 23, And yeah, very quickly, we hit our 14th home at the end of last year, and it's been incredible. Just word of mouth, purely
Yeah.
word of mouth. Yeah. So Easton Park's that's one thing I love about Easton Park. It's like super tight community, and
Yeah.
so yeah, we've been super grateful to be working with and also meeting so many neighbors. That's been awesome.
Yeah, we love Easton Park. We ask people what their favorite thing about Easton Park is, and it's really become very cool because everyone, I think 100% of the people have said community. And I think what's really cool about Easton Park is there's a lot of entrepreneurs here. And so there's this network of like wanting to help one another out. And like we have clients in Easton Park and feel very proud about that. And I think that there's like an accountability to it that these are your neighbors. This is your community. You're going to see them at the parks. You're going to see them at the pool. Like you got to do a good job. It's really, really important that you do a good job.
100%, 100%. And I also, having lived in so many places at this point, I'm so glad we're settled. My wife and I always go, we're never leaving.
Okay.
We love Easton Park, but back to the community. I think a unique part of this community is that we lean in. We lean in, right? In a community, it's very easy to stand back and watch, right? If something good happens or if something not so good happens,
Sure.
right? And this community, oh my God, like it doesn't matter what's happening, we're leaning in.
Yeah,
and that's so amazing.
It's good people.
Yeah, it is good people.
It's good people, and it just seems like everyone's really invested in. Excuse me, sorry. It seems like everyone's really invested in the mission of the neighborhood and of the people and of supporting one another.
We're pushing for better.
Always pushing for better.
Yeah.
And I think that you see it just, you can walk your dog and there's so many people who are like, oh, hey, or even people that you don't, you're like, hey, welcome. Like,
Yeah.
I'm Nicole. So nice to meet
yeah.
you. Like, it's just a very friendly community. And I think what's interesting is people are like, oh, people from Texas are so kind and welcoming or whatever. But what's really cool about Easton Park is that I would say most people aren't from Texas, and have come here, and everyone is just like nice and friendly and welcoming. And I don't know that we've ever met someone that wasn't just super happy to be here. Like, I think that there's a level of comfort and kindness and
satisfaction.
Yeah.
And you can tell that in the number of people, us included, who moved here and then forced family and friends to move here. I mean, we see that all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, since we moved here, both sets of our folks, my wife's and I, they live here now.
Okay.
And then we moved another 3 sets of friends to Easton Park.
Oh, that's awesome.
And ever so often, I mean, we have so many people on the tenant side going, hey, my friends are moving from California, or my friends are moving from Michigan, and we'd love for them to rent in Easton Park. And the underlying mission is to get them to buy a home here next year. And like that's,
Yeah.
everyone loves it here. They really do.
That's an interesting, because once you rent here, you're like, oh, I would love to buy a home here. Like it's just such a cool neighborhood. It's been really fun. We've been here since 2018.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to watch it grow and to watch the community grow. And during COVID, we were all a little worried because it was just Bryant Park and Nob Hill, and that was it. And like CVS wasn't here, and I mean, nothing was here. Like it was just these two little neighborhoods. 183, we weren't even connected to 183 yet. Like, and everyone was a little nervous because we were like, is this going to be an arrested development situation where like, but the communities kept growing, people kept buying. And I thought the HOA did a really good job of creating like events and activations as socially responsible as they could, considering the guidelines and everything, that still kept the community together. And I found it to be it was just really fun to be a part of. And it was kind of like leaning in, like everyone, like you said, like everyone kind of leaned into this horrible situation that lasted for a really long time. And you'd see like front yard parties where people would be like socially distanced. So we would have on Sundays, people would come over, we turn the sprinklers on during the summer, and everyone would bring their like lawn chairs and just like hang out.
Yeah.
And you're like, what else are you going to do?
The original splash pad.
The OG splash pad. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this community is great. And I think that I've grown up in Texas my whole life. I'm used to people being really nice and hospitable, but I think that it's special. There's something very unique about Easton Park, and I think everyone who lives here is really proud to be here.
From your perspective, I'm curious. You've been here longer than I have. I was going to ask if there was a point of inflection you noticed where Easton Park went from this growth to this growth? And when was that? I was always curious.
Um, that's a great question. We were walking our dogs over where the food trucks are now.
Or no, yeah.
They weren't then. There was nothing at that point, but we were walking and like right when you kind of crest that hill that is now a skyline, we looked over and it was all the pipes for like the plumbing. And I mean, we were both like, whoa, that is insane. And this is during COVID. So like, it felt like a lot of had stopped. There were no road. You couldn't get back there. There's like I think they were coming in a different road. And we were just like, oh, that's going to be a lot of houses. And so I think COVID really, the beginning of COVID, without us knowing it, I think like in a movie where you're thinking about things that are happening that you have no idea are going on, or these people were buying these homes. People in all over were like, oh, I can work remotely now. Let's go maybe find a less expensive home from living in California or New York or whatever. But I think COVID and the community during COVID it was unbelievable. And I remember I don't remember exactly what time frame. It might have been like early 2021 where we realized we didn't like know all of our neighbors anymore. You'd go to the union or, be kind of walking around the parks and be like, oh, that's a new person. Where, because for the longest time, it was just
Bryant
Park. And I'm sure Bryant Park felt completely like before even Nob Hill started, they just had their community. I think it was like middle of maybe mid to late 2020 was when it never stopped growing.
Exploded. Yeah.
What stopped was the in-person get-togethers that they would do, which we loved going to, and it was really, really fun. And I think that was sad, but I do think that the HOA, with as much as they could, got the community back together. But I don't think it ever stopped growing. Is what it was. It just felt like it because we all were, everything felt like it slowed down during COVID, but it did not. At least people moving to Easton Park, which is so great. And then I think, again, when the amenity center was complete and they could walk potential owners and tour the amenity center, I think that made a really big difference. Yeah. Because
that's fair.
When we were out here in the beginning, like you didn't even get delivery out here. Like there's nothing, the CVS wasn't here.
Yeah.
You're going over to Star Market. That was like the closest place. If you for something quick and not, whatever, and then like the new HEB on Slaughter wasn't there. So we all took a risk early.
Yeah, you took a risk. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we did.
Paid off.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So other than community, what's your favorite thing about Easton Park?
Ooh, I think at a high level, Easton Park in my mind is a Goldilocks combination of accessibility, affordability, and community. And I know you said not to say community, but I had to mention that. I have to.
Not?
But and I still, being a licensed broker, just being in the profession, I still help people move in and out of Austin, in and out of Easton Park, and it's very difficult to find newer, modern homes in a tight-knit community, 15 minutes from the airport and 20 minutes from downtown, and
Right.
especially now. I mean, we live in Texas. We love being in the outside and 13 miles of trails, and
Right.
and so at a high level, it really is a Goldilocks community. It really is, and me personally, it's got to be the trails. It's got to be the trails. I love being outside, and I love that you can walk and feel, you can walk, feel safe, see your neighbors, walk your puppies, do dog park, that kind of thing. We love that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could add anything to Easton Park, what would it be?
I think this is probably gonna be the most common answer, but it's genuinely, I would say, the commercial side that everybody's eagerly waiting for. I really think commercial is going to take Easton Park from good to great. And I already think it's on its way there. But it'll become this little self-sufficient, little bubble.
You don't have
if
to
will.
leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that would be fantastic.
Yeah. It kind of is already this like self-sustaining micro economy of just all the services that people provide. Rissa with Hands of Hope was here yesterday, and she made a really good point. She's like, everything that I do is here. She's like, the lady that owns the business that cleans my house is here. I bought food from the woman who makes food and delivers it. I get my hair cut here in Easton Park. Like she's like, I don't have to go
Have to go anywhere. Yeah, that's awesome.
you know?
Yeah. And the food trucks are a great example of what some sort of commercial development in Easton Park can do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. And shout out to Sonizo for kicking that off. And now it's it's exploding there, and it's awesome.
I love Soniso.
Yeah, they're great.
There's some I joke with Harrison all the time. I'm like, what do you put in your coffee? Because we'll wake up craving it.
It's good coffee.
Like it's just real good coffee.
It's good coffee.
And good people. I think that's the other thing too, is Harrison and Nancy are just incredible.
They're good people.
Good people. Their team is great. Thank you everyone for joining Dhruv Kohli and I today on this really special edition of Park Talk. Reach out to Dhruv if you can use Good Neighbor Property Management, and we will see you next time.